I'm Brian.
I'm Joey.
Welcome to episode 65 of Mid-Atlantic Gravel, Travel, and Dirt. It's just Joey and I tonight. Wes is talking to somebody important on another line and won't come join the party. This is a podcast where we talk about gravel bikes, adventure, biking, bikepacking, general, all-around bike fun. How you doing tonight, Joey?
I am pretty good.
We're once again still on Skype, obviously, and I think we're going to be doing this for quite a while. So it's just the way it is. It's the new reality. Welcome to the new world. So joining us a little bit later is going to be Kelly Paduch from Rocktown Rambler. She is
maybe Wes.
She's fresh off a top 10 finish at Mid-South, and she's going to share a little bit of the flavor of Mid-South. So before we get too deep and before we get started, Joey, what's going on Patreon?
All right. Will, did he Annie? So Will bought stickers last week.
That's right.
And he joined us on Patreon.
That's right. Thank you, Will.
So he's got another thing coming in the mail. I don't know if his other one showed up yet.
Hey, before you keep
going.
I
do know the mail is behind right now.
I was chatting with Will on Facebook, and Will works as a grocery restocker. He's works in a warehouse, and he's moving groceries and, the back end of making sure that we still get all that stuff that we need at the grocery stores in the midst of all this nonsense we're dealing with. So, big shout out to Will. That's right. Let's give him a little
salute.
Let's do something a little bit special and give Will a little round of applause.
Or do you have your little sound box thing?
Thank you, Will. Appreciate that.
We have old Theodore from Maryland upped his monthly contribution to $10 a month.
Thank you, Ted.
That's Ted. That's everyone's Ted that we all love.
I feel like we owe Ted more than he gives us.
Yeah, we do.
Hey, what are you drinking tonight, Joey?
Oh man, I just pulled it out of the. I switched to beer this week after a long run of bourbon. I have Calvert Brewing Company 7th State Golden Lager. It's very Calvert County like with the cornfields and a John Deere on the front of it with a barn.
Nice. Is it good?
It's good. I'm kind of over. I'm out of stout season.
So I have this Duclaw Brewing Goes O's. It's a Goes Ale with Orioles theme, and it's actually it's a Goes Ale brewed with cantaloupe and black lava sea salt. I've had this before, and it's actually quite good. But then I also have this Corona, and we were funning earlier that baseball season got canceled by Corona, or not canceled. Let's hope baseball's not canceled.
I would say, is the season fully canceled?
No, I don't think so.
I hope not. I don't know if I'll survive.
So what have you been up to this week, Joey?
I feel like a lot. I mean, time is dragging and going fast with Corona.
It's true.
But I mean, we did another long ride on Sunday together. Actually, I hung out with you both my days off.
That was a lot of fun.
That was a good ride. I mean, I think that's the first ride in a while where I wasn't tired ever. I wasn't also putting a huge effort in, but I felt really fresh when we were done. I could just keep going and going.
How many miles did you end up with?
41. Not many.
So we were about the same way.
That's a lot, but
yeah, we were in the same place. I ended up with it because I started here and then met you guys, and then we looped around and we did another thing, and then I ditched off, and along the way we counted Fireball bottles.
Are we talking about that later in a Fireball segment?
No, we can talk about that right now.
So I think we had some good feedback about the Fireball Fireball challenge too.
Thought so too. That was nice.
I had a couple of people text me with pictures of Fireball on the side of the road.
How many did we counted? Over 40, wasn't it?
I think I got 27.
And I had 12 or 13.
Yeah, at least.
And then Will had 3 or 4.
Yeah. And that's the ones we saw.
Right. They were all, yeah. There was and it was funny too. It was as soon as you get close to a liquor store, it was Fireball.
Well, that one liquor store was crazy.
There must have been 10 or 12 of them outside that liquor store.
Yeah. So. I was starting to lose my voice. That was a good ride.
That was fun. And then the next day, what did we do? We went kayak fishing.
Yeah, that was a long pedal. That's when I started feeling the bike ride on my legs.
How long was that? Did you actually measure that?
Jerry Strava'd it and then tagged me. I think he tagged you. I don't know.
I don't remember seeing the number of miles though.
It was 5.86, right at 6 miles, with 3 of that directly into a headwind all the way home.
Yeah, and that was fun.
Tough.
It was a fun trip. We had to like fjord the waterfall. We had to like, portage over the waterfall to get to the little snakehead area. Only thing that there's one thing that would have made that trip better: catching fish.
Yeah.
But that's okay.
It happens.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that was my first time out really in that new kayak I got, which is awesome, by the way.
That is a badass boat. I love the yellow highlights.
Oh, did I tell you, Tom? I got pack paddle decals from Tom, Mr.
Oh, really?
King.
Oh, nice.
To go, I don't know, like 15 inches, and they're pretty long. So I had him do mine in yellow.
Oh, sweet. Tell everybody about your boat.
So I got a native kayaks, native watercraft, a Slayer Pro Max, which is 12.5 feet. It is a pedal powered kayak, so I can still paddle it, but it has a drive system that, it takes a square tapered crankset on each side, or crank arm, and it has a gearbox inside of it, and it looks like a little trolling motor, but you're pedaling it, and you just cruise along.
You were moving too.
I wasn't really like putting effort in there. That was just like a nice smooth pedal.
You just left Jerry and I on the way back into the headwind.
Well, it just cut through the water.
Maybe that's what it was. And my boat, I also have the little pedal drive.
Yeah.
But that is one of the things that's known about my boat, is that it's a little piggy. And it's like, it just like basically plows the water. And it's like so it's not nimble.
The pedal is great when you're in a spot to fish.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's fun. Like you were saying, we could Zwift water on there. We'll put a power meter and some cadence sensors, and
that actually a power meter and I wanted to run Zwift on my Lowrance on my fish finder. That would have been really cool.
That was a good. Apparently we can still kayak and fish now, and bike with all this bullcrap going on. So
yeah, so everybody, we're in Maryland, and Maryland's governor did issue a stay-at-home order. So my life really hasn't changed that much. You're still working.
I don't go out anyway.
You're essential, being in a bike shop, and that's transportation. So people need their bikes at a time like this, and for both transportation and for exercise, because that is one of the things that you're allowed to do. So I can still ride my bike. You can still ride your bike. We got the clarification that you can kayak fish. So my life hasn't changed a whole lot.
Oh, I've been rode my bike. I rode it with you and Jess. I went out and I fished. I come home from work and that's it. I'm a piece of shit. So
that's it. That's all I'm doing anyway.
What if you don't have a home and you have a stay-at-home order?
Yeah. That's one people group that I do feel a special soft spot for, the homeless. That is a real problem, because all of the government buildings, libraries and places that they typically will spend a lot of their time are shut down. So now they are really in a bad spot. So it's tough. When you play this back and edit it, you'll listen to me chuckle when I said that, and I was thinking totally different about like, I just don't have a home, so I can go out and play. Yeah.
Then I had to really. So here's a gross story.
Good. Tell it.
It's not. It's actually. It's more gross than it is funny. I don't know. So Mr. Tom King picked up his Roubaix today, which was awesome, and I hope he likes it. And then the Steps came down and picked up their S-Works Ruby today. And I go behind the library to take all my pictures because I like the nice white wall, and it's a good area for me,
right,
with lighting. And there's a little like Rubbermaid shed thing, kind of just over off on the side,
right.
And it's kind of gross outside, but it sounds like a gutter is just gushing out water. You hear it from up high. And I'm taking this picture, and this guy comes, hey, oh man, I just had to take a leak. I can't use the bathroom anywhere now. He was pissing.
Oh.
There was a lot of pee. I saw it. I just thought something was leaking.
Well,
he's like, well, no one has their bathrooms open. I can't go to the library or the gas station or anywhere.
Right. Nothing's open. Where do you go? What do you do?
Yeah.
That's tough, man. It's tough.
Oh, it's crazy. I didn't think, that's not something I would have thought of. I did have Johnny Law, a state trooper, come to the store today to check in and make sure we're following guidelines. And he wasn't 100% aware we were essential. So I had to print out the form and I put it on the door to show him.
Yeah.
And then I printed out the big federal statement that came out, and I have it highlighted by the door.
Good.
On the plus side, man, I'll let you get to your section because you got some good notes on yours. But On the 26th, was that like Wednesday night? REI was doing a big sale, and I picked up that Quarter Dome 2 tent.
So I was going to ask you which one you went with, because I saw in the show notes you had your tent.
Well, I know you really like the Half Dome, and I really was eyeing up the Quarter Dome because it's like 2.5 pounds lighter.
So, I mean, here's the real big difference. You go out for 2 or 3 days at a time most. I go out sometimes and I'll live in that tent for 2 weeks.
Well, so yeah, I'm not living at the tent.
Yeah. So that I think is a difference. I do like to be able to kind of stretch out a little bit and have a little bit more space. So
yeah. Well, I know the one side of it kind of comes in at a little bit of angle.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I did get the 2-person because I'm a big guy.
So I have like you said, the Half Dome, and I just got a new one as well also in preparation for Texas Hill Country, which was squashed. But I also have a Passage, and I have a couple of tents, and sometimes I'll carry the Passage if it's a bikepacking trip because it's a little smaller.
Yeah.
But for a week, living in a tent for a week or 2, or sometimes even 3, a little more space on the daily is nice.
I was just thinking, I don't think I've ever taken it mainly because last year when we did it, I made Wes carry the tent and he didn't figure that out until we were coming home. I was like, I've always done hammock camping when I've done my bike packing in the last, because I haven't done a whole lot of it like you guys have. But I have to figure out how to, I think my tent poles, because I only use frame bags and trunk bag.
Oh, just strap them to your top tube.
I think it'll go in my Nittany bag, in my top tube bag, and then
Don't take up space inside the bag for your poles. Just strap them to the top tube, Velcro. So what I do is I have my frame bag. I'll put them. My tent poles will go underneath the top tube, but
I could use the Velcro from the bag.
Yeah, exactly. I just wrap it inside the top of the bag, but underneath the top tube.
And then the actual tent fabric itself, I mean, it gets so small.
And you don't fold it like you would. What I do is I squish it. You bag it and squish it and kind of compress it. You can get those things pretty doggone small. So the weight is the weight. You can't change that.
I was just telling you before, I was like, I need to find some place. I could probably do it, quote unquote, my neighborhood area, and no one would know I was camping. Yeah, it would be tough to do a bikepacking trip as a shelter, stay at home, stay in your home kind of thing. Well, what if my home is in my bike? True. What are they going to say? My tent's my home. What are they going to say? I think that kind of sums things up. I mean, we had so we closed this month with our best March ever. Score. And me and Dave were like, we were really short-staffed compared to what we... At the bike, just to clarify for folks. Yes. So your best month ever at the bike shop. Yeah. I was like, well, we had Wes for like 2 days of the month, like in the worst part of the month. And then we had half a month of a pandemic, so that's pretty good. Yeah, for all of those things going on, that's... And we still... I know the next few weeks are still going to be good. I'm waiting to see the second part of how all this is going to play out through like the end of April. So yeah, Virginia has closed down through mid-June, I think. What? They announced the date for Virginia. June 10th is their stay-at-home order goes through June 10th. Maryland governor, when Governor Hogan did it, it's very open-ended. But in Virginia, June 10th. Have a close-off date. Yeah. So, anything else? Talk about the good stuff that you're about to talk about. Yeah, man. We finally got our jerseys. I was so excited to get hands on jerseys, and they are so badass. I'm so excited because I was nervous seeing pictures of them, and you get weird angles, and you're not exactly sure. Ugly. No, you can't really tell. I want to get in detail on them. It's like you really couldn't see it. The material, cutaway material, is great. I think the fit is really good. I was really worried about the fit that he was going to screw up with the whole thing going over in China, and we were going to get some weird, like the sizes were going to be off or whatever, but none of that. I hope everybody else is as excited with their jerseys as I am with mine. Oh yeah. Came in really nice. And then also, I got my new tarmac. I finally picked up my new tarmac. Thank you, Joey, for getting that thing all sweet and primed and ready to go. First ride out, 2 flats, but okay. 2 flats and 1 pickup? 2 flats, 1 tube. Thank you very much for the pickup on that one, too. But, I was smart about that. I got the flat like 3 miles out, and it felt like it was a weird flat. So instead of doing the rest of my loop, I actually cut my ride kind of short and headed straight to the island
because I knew that if I had a problem being on the island, I was close to the bike shop. Yeah. And so that was where I had the problem. And so I texted you, said, hey, I'm walking. And I called my nephew and we were just talking shop. And I was walking back to the shop. I had like a mile walk back. And after about 10 or 15 minutes, here comes Joey in a big red Ford pickup truck saying, hey, man, come on, let's go. So jumped in, fixed it. And what did it end up to? It ended up to be rim tape.
The rim tape was just folded over.
Yeah. And it happens. It felt like it was going to be weird because we kept looking. I looked at the tires like really, really well. I went around them multiple times when I had the first flat, and I could not find anything. So I figured it had to be something a little weird. Maybe I thought it might have been a pinch-in or might have been something in the sidewall that I couldn't quite, identify. But I felt like it was going to be a chronic problem. And another rider did stop and said, hey, I got a couple of tubes. And I said, nah, I don't think it's an actual tube issue. I think there's something, bigger going on. So, but that was nice of somebody to kind of, even in the midst of all of this, with social distancing and all that, he kind of stayed a little off the road and said, hey, need any help? And
you had that one jackwagon that didn't even look at you, though.
Yeah, no, we had no. There was a couple of riders.
I pulled up when he was going by. I'm like, what? No names.
Just no names. But there's a lot of people out on bikes right now that aren't
a lot on the road.
Yeah, they aren't used to being out on the road. So, I'll cut some slack. Who knows? They don't know that you should kind of like at least holler and say, hey, you need anything, because they're probably not carrying anything anyway. Yeah, that's the truth. But
that guy gives cyclists bad names as far as courtesy.
I agree, but that's okay.
I mean, what if that was, no offense to what if that was like Jess or my wife?
True.
True. She'll refuse to learn how to change a flat, but
True.
You know what I mean?
Anyway, hey, we got some listener questions and comments. Let me just jump right into the first one. Eric from Dingman's Ferry. I hope that's real. Or actually, I hope it's not. Dingman's Ferry. And we know Eric. We met Eric at Unpaved. You know Eric. Eric. I don't want to use his last name, but Eric. Friends with Sal. He's in our cover picture. Eric's in our cover picture with Dave up on the podium.
When you get this famous, you just I just have a horrible memory.
He sent a two-part question. I said a two-part wax-on question for Joey-san. Number one, I'm going to give it to you the first one, and then you can answer that, and then I'll read it. So it's a two-parter. It says, can I use the DIY car wash power nozzle to clean the chain since I do not own or have access to a parts washer?
What the heck?
Thoughts?
Excuse me.
He does not have access to a parts washer.
So what's a car wash power nozzle?
Probably like a I would think that's like a
it's like a hose,
like a pressure cleaner or some power washer or something like power nozzle. I think he's just saying, is there another way? Right. But he doesn't have a parts washer. What's the best way if you don't have an actual parts washer to clean the chain for that first time?
All right, after I answer these, we'll add Wesson because it looks like he's ready. What I would do, I think I said it before on an old tech tip, because now I have a streak of those. You can get like a water bottle, an old water bottle, and put some like citrus degreaser or Simple Green and water in there and let it soak in that. And then I guess you could use the power nozzle to blast it off.
Yeah.
But something like that, so you could shake it up, or you get some type of container where you can put solvent in there. That's what I was using before a parts washer. I guess the power nozzle thing might help blast off the last little bit, but if you do a couple cycles of that, in between cycles, rinse it thoroughly just under under the water. I think that's all you really need. And you get a toothbrush. I think that'll do more than anything.
Yeah.
After you degrease it and let it soak.
And then the second part, I don't remember you guys talking about cleaning the rear derailleur prior to chain waxing. I ride a 1x, so just a single up front.
Oh, yes. You need to clean everything 110%. You don't want anything left to get stuck or caked on there.
You just want to basically make sure that the jockey wheels are
just clean everything. You're going to take it off and clean it anyway.
Yeah. So
you can even, if you have like a little bucket thing instead of maybe a water bottle, you can soak your derailleur in there. 90% of all derailleurs, though, you can take off the cage, one side of the cage and the pulley wheel, so you can really clean them really well.
Yeah.
maybe just do one at a time so you put it back. I mean, not everyone's going to remember to put them back in the right order. There is an upper and a lower.
Okay. So hopefully, Eric, that answers the question.
Yeah, you want everything.
Do use some degreaser to answer the first one, and just make sure you shake it up real good and dislodge as much of that muck as you can, and then clean up that rear end too.
Dude, Wes is just
he's
mucking it up.
Let me call Wes. Hey, joining us now is Wes, all the way from Michigan. Thanks for joining the podcast, Wes. We appreciate it.
Do I have an event to talk to you guys about?
Okay. We have already done our catch-ups and all of that stuff, but I want to give you the opportunity to bring us up to speed on your week, Wes. What's going on up there, buddy?
Let's see. On my week, we just got pre-approved for a loan for a house because we're looking for a home. That's why I have not been on, because I got a phone call. So
rates are great, but it's a horrible time to buy.
That's why we're working on that right now. So things are looking good for us.
It's a horrible time to buy.
Stop it.
Is it?
No, it's a great time to buy. You have to have a home.
We're all going to be unemployed.
If there's a stay-at-home order, you need a home to stay in. So.
That's right. Step one. So that's going well. So sorry I missed the first 20, 30 minutes of the podcast, but here we are. I don't know, taking our dog for walks, getting outside. It's been raining the last couple of days. I cut up a tree with a chainsaw, cooked pasta, made cookie dough. Actually, made my own chocolate yesterday, 2 days ago. Made my own chocolate chip cookies. So if we want a cooking section, I'll teach everybody how to make pasta. And I'm currently drinking a vanilla Java porter by Atwater Brewery.
Nice.
And it's
so you said
good.
You made chocolate, but you'll teach us how to make lasagna or pasta?
No, cookies.
Yeah, you combine them, but I said cookies.
Chocolate pasta.
Chocolate pasta cookies. I like it.
Shasta.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's my week in a nutshell.
Like a ravioli. A chocolate ravioli.
Although I went out and it was weird. There was nobody out. I don't understand why. So I don't know. Everybody's being a hermit.
Are you guys in Michigan? Are you under a stay-at-home order?
It's kind of like one of the, I don't know how it's supposed to work. So you're allowed to go out and exercise and stuff, but you're not supposed to do it in groups of 5 or more people. And then, but you go into a grocery store and you'll be in an aisle with 20 people. Right. So it kind of, I don't quite understand everything about it.
I have a pressing question though for you, Wes. Have you actually made 5 friends yet?
I've made at least one. And then I guess I inherited a few.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're good.
So we have an internet game night this weekend.
Oh, fun.
Which I don't know how it's supposed to work, but I'm pretty excited about it.
That's a great idea. Internet game night. Love it.
We could have done a Clash of Clans, but you left the clan.
I left the clan. I got new phone games. Get on it.
So we're right in the middle of going through listener comments and questions, and we're at the point where Ted sent us a pic on Facebook via a Facebook Messenger, and it said, "All right, boys, let's do this proper." And it says, "Fidlock Universal Cradle is basically the best bike accessory ever. #Fireball Challenge." And the picture had a pint of Fireball in a bottle cage with the Fidlock Cradle thingy. So it was basically, instead of a water bottle, he had a pint of Fireball, which is kind of cool.
I thought Ted was better than that.
Yeah, but Fireball gets it done.
Oh yeah,
Fireball's disgusting.
What's that candy that it mimics Fireballs? They're super good.
I don't know. Maybe the little thing. Actually, I should get my bottle for this week, Brian, because I won.
Oh, he crushed me.
Wes, you have to listen. I had 27 on Sunday.
He counted
27 of those little wieners.
Yeah. On 40-mile ride, I had 27 with Brian.
That's really terrible. People are the worst.
And I had
we had over 40 total.
Over 40 bottles counted.
That's crazy. Are you guys picking them up by chance?
No, but we should.
I'm not touched.
You would literally have, especially now. No, I'm not picking up. No, I'm not doing that. It's a nice community thing to do, but I'm not doing it. And now I know where they are, so I can win next time.
I'm gonna sprinkle. I'm gonna get hammered and sprinkle some all over the county.
Okay. Hey Joey, what's going on in Strava Club?
Strava Club. I picked Strava this week. So I did a random number generator between 1 and 100. We have a lot of riders, but we do our top 100. So Casey Waite from Colwich, Kansas, came in at 151.9. Don't know what number.
Irrelevant.
They were in line because we're not doing numbers anymore. Dave Beto from Erie, PA, came in at 145.1. And then his name is Biker Paul with Velo Pigs from Purcellville, VA. Had 226.6.
Good miles.
Yeah. So I did have a couple numbers where they had like 1,000 groups they were following or pages, so I didn't count them. So Casey, our first one, he's only has like 3 or 4 Strava clubs, so that's pretty cool.
What's he waiting for?
Erie, we have all those PA boys and girls, and then Purcellville is, that's local gravel for us.
Yeah.
I did not do the top 100 mileage. I suck. Everyone was up there. Good week.
I did it. To break into the top 100 for the week, you needed 129 miles, and our total members are up to 577 from 574 last week.
So when we hit 600, West comes home?
Yeah, so that's why our numbers are actually basically going backwards.
You got to get me before we buy a house.
If you want to join us on the Strava Club, strava.com/club/gravel travel dirt. Hey, Joey, you got a tech tip this week?
Hell yeah, I do. I'm stealing it from Brian Rains. He told me 2 days ago. Brian, so me and Jessica were arguing over why I lose all my socks. She's also downstairs now and can hear me.
It's because
you know
I
what
stole
Brian
half
had
your
balls
socks.
to say to me? He said, just safety pin them together as soon as you take them off. Wash them. They'll never get separated. And you put them in your drawer that way.
Bingo.
Who the hell does that?
It's easy.
It's genius.
Who has that many safety pins?
I'm getting ready to Amazon some big ones.
You get the big quilting safety pins.
Why don't you just get one of those washing bags and stick them all in the washing bag?
Well, because then they're still separate.
Disappear.
They're still separate.
Yeah, but they're in a bag.
No, but this one's like...
Yeah, but now you have to tear your socks up.
Okay, so let me put this in a way you could think about it.
Brian,
So
what's your Instagram follow of the week?
Brian, you've got at least 2 balls, right? And separate out of the sack, you would lose them. Put them in the sack, and you've got them forever. Can't lose them.
But if you have 8 balls...
Put your socks in a wash sack.
Our Instagram follow recommendation for the week. Everybody, okay, green sky, bluegrass. Okay, so everybody knows green sky, bluegrass. But
I hope
if you don't? Okay, if you go to at green sky, at green sky bluegrass, and you hit their profile and follow the link in the bio, you can find the soundtrack to live highlights from their Courage for the Road Winter 2020 tour, and it's a really good listen, and I would highly recommend it. So either if you don't follow Green Sky Bluegrass, well, then you should follow Green Sky Bluegrass. And if you already do and you didn't know it, go and snag that soundtrack. They basically have a link that goes to a website, and you can click whatever your listening platform is. So you just hit Spotify if you're a Spotify listener, Apple Music, whatever it is, it's all free. Go and give it a listen. It's good stuff. Live bluegrass, man. So joining us now is Kelly Paduch from Rocktown Rambler. We had Kelly, it was just not that long ago, was it, Kelly? We were talking about Rocktown Rambler?
It was just a few weeks ago.
Yeah. But in the meantime, Kelly ventured out to Mid-South and dropped a pretty badass top 10 finish for the ladies. Welcome to the podcast, or welcome back to the podcast, Kelly.
Hi. Yeah, thanks for having me again.
Right on. It's good to have you back again, even so quick. You just got so much that's going on with Mid-South. But before we get started with that, how you guys doing with the whole coronavirus and what's going on in your world there?
So with the coronavirus, it's definitely changed some stuff. I work at Rocktown Bicycles. Virginia they've issued a stay-at-home policy. It hasn't changed much from, the last week, I guess, when Governor Northam put it into place. Basically, we're keeping fewer than 5 people in the shop if they are coming by, and cleaning everything. And a lot of people are trying to get out and ride if they're able. So that's been cool to see some new faces even in this. Yeah, we're just trying to keep downtown Harrisonburg going. Good.
Well, stay safe. It's a weird time, and I know we were supposed to have you last week, and I think everybody just kind of last week was just like, ugh. I don't know,
It was a bad episode.
It just came way out of left field. What's going on with the race? What's going on with Rocktown Rambler? What are your thoughts there?
So, Rocktown Rambler, we did have to postpone it. However, we are really excited for the date we've postponed it to, which will be September 20th. And the day before that is our Rocktown Cyclocross race. And so I am kind of calling it the Rocktown Dirt Fest
nice.
for 2020 with the cross race Saturday in Harrisonburg and then the Rambler Sunday the day after.
Nice.
Oh, man, I could totally make the September one now.
Cool.
Sorry, I just look at my calendar.
Yeah,
no, I'm excited. I haven't even I have no idea what's going to go on with my tour schedule. I mean, who knows? Because I know that I heard from one of the tour organizers that, for all the fall events, people are already starting to cancel. So it's a crapshoot as to what's going to happen. So who knows? But good on you for going ahead and getting out there in front of that and making that change, being decisive on it. I think that'll really help people plan, and I think it'll keep the stoke high for it. So good job.
Yeah, thanks.
So let's do some catching up with Mid-South and starting it off. I mean, that was right. It was the same weekend as the Croatan Buck 50. Which
yes.
we had all our dilemmas about whether to go or not go, and Matt had all of his things about go, no go. What was it like heading out to Oklahoma with all of that looming and not knowing what was going on?
Yeah. So my best friend Lindsay Carpenter and I, we left the Thursday before Mid-South during the middle of the day, and basically things were kind of seeming up in the air, but nothing seemed too crazy yet. Nothing seemed concrete that like events were going to be canceled, or everything seemed like we're moving forward and it should be fine. Probably about almost, I want to say 6 hours or 7 hours into our drive is when Lindsay got a text from someone about Croatan being canceled. And then we started wondering, are they going to cancel Mid-South? We are almost, we're closer to halfway through our drive than to home. So what's going on? And we got the email a few hours later from Mid-South that they were not going to cancel. Everything was going to proceed as normal, and they were going to do their best to keep everything clean. If people needed to defer, they could defer. That whole scenario was just happening as we were driving there. So it was a little crazy. But we got there Friday morning, and everybody that was there to do the race was in good spirits and trying to stay positive. And so
Excellent.
That's how it started.
Excellent. I mean, that really sets the tone weird for the start of something like that. But it sounds like, did people just kind of fall into the groove and everybody was kind of like, okay, we're here to do this thing, so let's just do this thing and kind of let it go?
Yeah. I don't know if people let it go. There was definitely hovering over everyone. It was definitely something we were all thinking about. Lindsay and I, in general, we're not super, super social people. And so we did the same thing we did last year. We got to our hotel. We rode our bikes downtown to get our stuff. We kind of looked around to see if we saw anybody that we knew. And then we went back to our hotel room and got food and slept. Yeah. So it wasn't like we weren't planning on seeing a bunch of people, but that's just because we are like that normally. But it kind of seemed like a lot of people were not into hanging out as much as last year. There were definitely not as many people. You could tell just from the registration line the day before that there weren't as many people as last year.
Yeah. I think the numbers, I think I remember seeing something like 400 or 600 no-shows or something like that, which it's a big field. So you got to think that, if 2,000 people are registered, maybe 200 aren't going to show up anyway. I don't know. Although maybe for Mid-South, if you're registered and you're there, you're coming. So I don't know. It's hard to say. So walk us through. Let's drop all the COVID crap. Walk us through the stoke of the event and talk to us about what it was like.
And what bike did you setup did you have?
Okay. So I knew it was going to rain on Saturday. And so I bought some Panaracer mud tires, 35C. And even if it didn't rain as much as it had been projected during the week, I was going to run them anyway, because I knew, at least just from pictures of, I think it was 2017 when they had rain, that I was going to want something that could help me keep traction, but also give me enough clearance so that if the mud did start packing up, I wasn't going to have any place for that mud to go in my bicycle. So my bike is a Diverge, and it can clear 42C tires. But the 35s, I think, were the best for giving me enough traction and control and tire clearance with the mud. So Saturday was pretty chill. We got our stuff. Everybody was in good spirits overall. That whole town, Stillwater, at least the downtown area that we experience when we get our registration numbers and swag and all that stuff, is so positive and welcoming. And I'm always excited to get into downtown Stillwater and just experience the vibe that they have there. It's always positive and welcoming. And it was no different this year. We just kept watching the weather and being like, when's it going to start raining? Is it going to start raining? What's going to happen? And sure enough, we woke up 5:30 in the morning and it was raining, but not super hard. And then by 7 o'clock, it was pouring. And there was thunder and some lightning. I keep my bikes in the van that we travel in. And so we were sitting inside the van before leaving for the race, trying to like pull the rest of our bike stuff together so we didn't get wet trying to get to the start line. But it was raining pretty good, so we did get wet. And the race got delayed half an hour for lightning. And it was very wet and it was cold. And I bought a jacket while waiting to start the race because I was like, I don't have enough layers. And knowing how it went at Rasputitsa in 2019, I had wished that I'd had another layer. And so I was like, I'm going to buy a jacket. I need another layer. And I was really, really glad that I did, because I didn't take anything. I didn't shed layers or anything. I changed my gloves at the midway point of Mid-South, and that was it. All of my layers stayed on for the whole day. So I was really glad that I had the chance to get another layer on. Yeah.
So what was the start like?
So the start, it was raining. Lindsay and I were standing next to each other, and Bobby always gives like super amazing heartfelt speeches before his race. And we were all just kind of looking at each other like we're all in this together. Like, yeah, it's a race, but also like it's time to really just go after it and survive this thing. And we didn't know if it was going to stop raining or what, but we were all excited to see what we could do. And we started. The start was very similar to last year. Like, you get out of town, you're still on pavement, everyone's hitting it like 25 miles an hour, just trying to figure out where they need to be. And then you hit the gravel, and we all just kind of like slowed down because it was like muddy, but like you had traction, but it just was like, it was a lot slower. It's just crazy. Like, thinking about it right now, it just hurt a lot, even just hitting the dirt for the first time.
How long did the rain last?
So it took me, I was averaging probably for the first two hours, 14 and a half to 15 miles an hour. So for the first 2 hours of the race, it rained. Around 30 miles in, it stopped raining, and it started to tack up, which for a cyclocross race would be really nice because then you could have clear lines. But there were no clear lines for a good portion of the race. And even the clear lines were still not super great. With the mud, it just wanted to grab you and take you all over the place. And it would stick. The biggest thing starting out when it stopped raining was that it was sticking to your drivetrain and your chain. And so everybody, like those pictures of everybody's pulleys being little pointy teeth instead of nice squared off edges, is from the dirt packing up in the chain, and you're just trying to pedal through. And I had been thinking in my head, man, like if you're shifting ghosts, at least you can like single speed out of this. And then like I could feel every so often, every few miles, just this little skip. And I was like, oh my gosh, if my pulleys go, I don't know what I can do. I don't know if I can single speed out of this if my pulleys go. So that was interesting, feeling that. And everybody was driving for the puddles to try and get their gear washed off so that they could at least pedal with some semblance of gear. And then I lost my front derailleur shifting, and I had no idea why, with probably 8 or so miles to go to the midway point in Perkins. But it wasn't like I was stuck in the little chainring. I was stuck in my big chainring. And I had just experienced, before Mid-South, I only have so much bike gear. And the chainrings that were on my Diverge wore out. And I found this, it started doing it a couple of days before we were leaving for the race. And with my worn out chainrings, the chain was jamming between the two. And so I was like, oh no, I gotta put like my road drivetrain on here because that's all I have. And so my road drivetrain is a 5236 chainring setup.
I know, I have it.
So I was stuck in my 52 tooth on like the rolling hills of Oklahoma in the mud.
Oh no.
And I had like a nice cassette, but I was like, I'm just going to run it till I can't anymore. And then I hit this hill and I was like, I can't do this anymore. So I tried to like kick and like hit my derailleur to go back into the little chainring because you can't see anything because the mud is just covering everything. And I'm trying to wipe it off, but it's just sticking to my hands and it's still sticking to the derailleur. So I finally am able to really push everything over and move my lower limit screw over enough so that it finally dropped into the little chainring, and I one-byed it all the way into Perkins for those next few miles. And I was so glad with how different the mid checkpoint station was this year. Last year it seemed a little confusing, and there wasn't neutral support, and we had drop bags, so it was definitely more of a like support yourself scenario, and Scratch was bringing water. And then this year was, if anyone's been to the Shenandoah Mountain 100, it was like one of those aid stations. So Coca-Cola, Scratch, water, bananas, sandwiches, candy. And then the biggest thing for me that day was SRAM was there offering neutral support. Oh. So I think they call him Big Mike. But I remember him from Cyclocross Nationals in Louisville when it was all muddy, and he was washing people's bikes like crazy, and there he was doing it again. And he's like, you've got rocks jammed in your front derailleur. And I was like, oh, that's why it's not shifting down. So they got me set back up, and I got shifting again for, I think it was like another 20 miles. And then it happened again, but I was thankfully stuck in the little chainring this time. And so the last 20, 25 miles, I was still doing the small chainring and the rest of my cassette. But things after Perkins, after that 54-mile spot, things just really got to the point where it was so muddy and so peanut buttery, and you had to use everything you had to just go at it like mile by mile, a tenth of a mile, just to keep pushing. There was one guy who, a lot of people were losing their brakes. I don't know if it was just from the brake pads were wearing out, or they were having more mechanicals from just the conditions of the mud. But one guy had lost his brakes and was using his foot to slow his rear wheel down on everything. And I was like, man, if he's still doing this, like, there's no way that I'm stopping. Like, there's no way in heck that I'm gonna like quit this race. I've got to finish this thing. So that was
for our listeners that may not know, it's a 100-mile race, and how much elevation?
It's about my ride says about 6,800 feet of elevation.
Okay. So not a crazy number. It was really about the mud.
Yeah, it isn't a crazy number. I will say though, especially living around the mountains, the 6,800 feet of elevation of 100 miles in Oklahoma is way different because you can pedal almost the whole time. And so I feel like what happens there, like I'm more susceptible to it. The more I'm pedaling, the closer I am to cramping as the day goes on. Whereas like when you have hills and mountains, being able to coast and just let your muscles relax for a little bit, it makes a huge difference. And the Mid-South race is definitely full of more elevation in the second half of the race.
And you're always on the wheel. Always.
And you're always on the wheel. Like last year, I did it in 6 hours last year, and I had, a group of people that I was riding with the whole time, and we were just pedaling, and I cramped with 20 miles to go and was just doing everything I could to like eat anything with electrolytes in it to keep pedaling and not lose that group. Whereas this year, I didn't cramp until mile 90, but I had no wheel to stick to. It was simply because it was just almost 9 hours of riding and there was still a lot of climbing ahead.
So last year it was dry, right? If I remember right, it was dry and fast.
It was bone dry.
What a big difference. How many years have you done it?
Just last year and this year.
And for folks that don't know, that is the former Land Run, is now been renamed Mid-South. We talked about that, I think, a few podcasts ago, about the change in the name. Wasn't
there rumor of the rain splitting, like town? I guess the race course, like there's a possibility of it not raining Friday night, looking into Saturday.
It didn't. It drizzled a little bit on Friday. It really started to rain. I'm not sure what time it was, but by the middle of the night, it had started raining, and I think it just got worse as the day went on.
How destroyed was your bike when you came home?
Yeah, I was going to ask the same thing.
So it was a little crunchy, but I am actually very pleased with everything, considering my wheel bearings are fine. My bottom bracket is fine. I didn't have to replace anything there. My future shock broke. And that made a little bit more sense of why those last 20 miles maybe hurt more. I remember thinking, I was like, man, this course is getting like really, really bumpy. And then it was because my future shock wasn't functioning anymore. So I think because the boot of the future shock split, a lot of dirt got in there because it was definitely crunchy when I went to like actuate it when I was cleaning it off. But Specialized warrantied it for me, and I have a new one on there now, and
nice.
Everything's good. My pulleys and my chain were probably the most worn out. So my pulleys were non-functional, and my rear derailleur, I have them still. I might frame them just as a little joke or whatever. They're very pointy. And then my chain was a brand new chain, like brand new. And it was shot. It was completely worn through.
That's why we do it, though, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It took a while to clean my front derailleur out. There were a lot of rocks in there.
But was the future shock stuck up or down?
It wasn't stuck. It just was, so it was just thunking.
It was just like flopping around like a fish or something?
Yeah. Yeah, it was just extra. It was like extra suspension, but not the kindest feeling, I guess. Like I had a lefty fork kind of feel the same way when I had a Cannondale mountain bike like 6 years ago. And the bearings went, and it was kind of that same like just extra clunky feeling.
Yeah.
What was your total time on bike?
I think it was 8:56 and some. Wow. Extra seconds there.
That's a lot of suffer right there. That is a lot of suffer.
Yeah.
And a top 10 finish. So congratulations again on that.
Yeah,
that's pretty badass.
Yeah, thank you.
Super badass.
I was super stoked to see that.
And now what's the I guess it's damper. Everything's dampered, but what's the after party like at the Atmosphere at Mid-South?
Honestly, I can only speak about the after party from seeing what's posted on social media. I imagine it's a fantastic after party. I was so I don't want to say broken, but that is really how I felt. I felt really broken after finishing that race. I just went to the hotel room and stayed there after Lindsay finished. We were really done with the day. So super happy to have finished and to still have done it, but very ready to just not be near bikes for a while.
So after an adventure like that, how long does it take you to get back on the bike? Speaking of that.
So this past time, it actually took me quite a while. The week before Mid-South, I had a really scary anaphylactic reaction to medication for a sinus infection that I'd been dealing with for 10 days before that. So I was not the healthiest person going into Mid-South. That scare with the allergy really put me out for a couple of days. And so I didn't ride my bike except for going to work for a full week after Mid-South. And then probably another week of riding easy. I finally feel like back to my old self. So it took a good while. And to be fair, we also drove 40 hours to and from the race within like 3.5 to 4 days. So there was a lot beyond just doing the race that really broke us down and made us tired. But we are both feeling much, much better and back to riding normally. Awesome. And happily.
Well, send our congratulations to Lindsay as well on the finish. That's strong. Yeah. That is super. Sounds like it was a brutal day.
That was just an impressive weekend to know you did all that in like 3 or 4 days. That's a lot to put in, and then to know what you had the week prior. That's impressive.
Thanks. Yeah, we went after it pretty aggressively, so it's good to be home now.
Well, again, congratulations, and again, Rocktown, great pushing it back. Looking forward to a great weekend in September. And you want to stick around for this or that, Kelly? Please say yes.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Definitely.
All right, well, let's do that. I didn't do anything on social media. I haven't done that in a few weeks where I've posted a this or that for the week, but maybe I'll do it this week. First item up on this or that, and Kelly, I'm going to pass it over to you first, then Joey, then I will answer, and then Wes, you can bring it home. First item on this or that, 1 mile of peanut butter mud or 1 mile of deep rutted sand. And I'm super stoked to hear what Kelly, what your answer is.
Honestly, I think I would still stick with the peanut butter mud over the rutted sand.
Yeah.
Riding in sand I don't like riding in sand.
Joey?
I know that's a tough one because the sand really sucks. Like, I feel like there's a little to gain in mud. I'm going to go with mud.
I'm going to go with mud because I think when you're done with it, everybody knows you did something. But, sand, it's like, it just goes away. If I'm going to suffer, I want people to know I suffered. So what about you, Wes?
The sand just gets everywhere, and it's so hard to clean out, and it makes everything sound terrible. I think the mud is, just for maintenance-wise, would be the way I'd go.
And since it's peanut butter, you can eat it.
I love peanut butter.
Yeah. That's a good. Just bring a couple of pieces of bread with you and scoop it up.
You just use the bread to scrape the peanut butter off of your bike.
It's perfect.
And if it's peanut butter with little rocks in it, it's chunky.
Actually, if you guys got on your candy scale, that would be.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. I'm gonna put a loaf of bread in our rag bin at the shop tomorrow and see what people say.
YouTube or Netflix?
Netflix. I'm not. I don't know YouTube. I don't know if it's because I just am not on the internet. I know Netflix. I don't know YouTube.
I get it, Kelly. The internet is scary.
Joey?
I'm afraid. I don't know. I'm going to go with YouTube. I was watching Navy SEALs while we were recording last week through YouTube.
No, that's what you're doing then.
They're starting to get full-length movies on there if you'd have to watch an advertisement.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't watch a lot of TV, so it's either YouTube or a quick Netflix thing. It's not full episodes of stuff.
I go back and forth. I'll sometimes like really go deep on YouTube and like get into something, and you can learn a lot actually on YouTube. I think there's a good opportunity.
You can pretty much fix everything with YouTube.
Yeah.
Besides bicycles, go to your bike shop.
But I mean, Netflix. Yeah. Netflix bringing it home.
You know that Dustin Klein I watch?
Yeah.
He had a good one on. He was trying to put on like one of those Fox gravel forks, and just his compatibility was. Like, it was really good for the bike shop wise to watch someone do that. He just mucked everything up, and you're like, oh yeah, that's why you go to a bike shop.
Let me take something very expensive and I'm just going to totally screw it up, and then have to pay somebody else to fix it. Wes?
So I think Netflix is kind of like your fun uncle. There's like a lot of stuff going on, but I don't know. There's not a whole lot to hold me there. YouTube's like the dad you always wish you had. It teach you anything. I can learn how to cook or fix my car, anything I want to do. Yeah. So I think I got to go to YouTube. There's just so much more.
Nice. So
that's like if I want to review on something, I go to YouTube and watch a bazillion reviews.
We were kind of split on that one, right? 2-2 YouTube versus Netflix. Last item on this or that for this week. And you have to be kind of in the know on this one, but I think everybody is.
I think you got to be.
Joe Exotic or Carol Baskin. Kelly?
Oh, I'm going to go with Joe. I agree with some of the people on there. Carol's not sharing something. Also, Joe's just crazy.
Joey?
I'm probably like the 1% of America that hasn't started that. But from everyone's social media presence, I feel like I've watched the show. and I can tell you that apparently I think Carol fed Joe to a tiger.
she fed her ex-husband.
I'm just gonna let you believe that for now. Yeah.
I told you I started Ozarks, and that was it.
I am definitely Team Joe. I feel bad for that guy, but my takeaway from this show is if you got a lot of money and you're into animals, you are one weird person, because
I don't think any of those people had a lot of money.
They all had a lot of money. You kidding me? They all had a lot of money. They just threw it away on animals and feeding tigers and just weird things. And but I was Team Joe. Wes, where are you at?
So I think I'm in like the 1% that thinks Carol didn't do it. I think her husband just left because Carol's insane, and he's with some honeys in like Puerto Rico, and he's living his best life. Because the dude that said he's like, I buried gold for this man. I think he dug it up and he's gone. Like he left.
Oh, that's a really good point. I do think she whacked him though and fed him to tigers.
No, I don't know, but I also think Joe was definitely framed, but definitely not innocent at the same time.
I mean, I watched the music video, and she
his
definitely.
music videos are amazing. If we ever get one done, I want him to do it.
Yeah, I didn't. There's no way he was singing. I had to go down that rabbit trail, and it's definitely a well-known fact that he was just lip syncing to somebody else's singing.
He pays Kenny Chesney to sing the song, and he just lip syncs.
Some other country star. It was he paid him and he lip synced it. So I'm ashamed to admit that I went down that rabbit trail because I had to know the answer. So
I did because of you.
What?
You told me about it.
Oh, you watched the show. Yeah. Okay. Hey, Kelly, thanks for joining us again this week, and thanks for recapping Mid-South. And again, congrats on the great finish. And it's a pleasure having you here.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it was great talking to you all.
Okay. Take care.
Love you. Bye.
Thanks, you.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.
So, guys, got anything else to add before we shut this down this week?
Yeah, I found dildo schwaggens on the side of the road.
I was wondering earlier, we were talking about our ride and all the fireballs, why you didn't bring that up.
I forgot.
Wes.
Can that be the album cover?
You know.
Oh yeah, can that picture be the
Absolutely not. Wes, Joey probably better than anybody, maybe even better than his wife. I have never seen Joey so excited on a bike ride as he was when he found that human sex toy laying on the side of the road. And I drove by there today, Joey, in my truck. It's still there.
Dude, sometimes you get lonely on quarantine.
So I think what was exciting is we were playing the Fireball Challenge And so you're calling out stuff, and I'm like, dildo. I think it was the fact, like, I've seen them on the road before. I've seen adult magazines, women's underwear, but that was funny.
I feel like you could at least release that to our Patreons because they're at least 18 years or older.
Oh, yeah, that's a great idea. You've already put it on Instagram. It's already all over Instagram.
Well, then album cover it is.
That was so much fun.
I'm texting Dave prior. I'm telling him to get Skype for next week. We should have Dave on.
Oh, yeah, let's do that.
If he had it now, I'd say we call him, but...
No, we'll do that. That's a great idea, Joey. Good one. So I'll do one thing. An email just came in while we were recording, and I wanted to... It really hit me. I got an email from, as everybody did, from Croatan Buck 50, from Matt Hawkins. And it's entitled, the subject line is The Untold COVID Story. And I want to read his email. It starts off scary but true. On Thursday, March 12th, I was at Ridge Supply and wrestling with the decision to cancel the race or not. I had just read an article about flattening the curve. At that point, I had not heard the term, and it was not being discussed as widely as it is now. So at 6 p.m., I canceled the event, and it cost hundreds of folks to not make the trip down this way to participate. Fast forward 2 weeks, and that seems like a lifetime ago. It really does, doesn't it? It feels like it was a long time ago.
This month's taking forever.
Yeah. Fast forward 2 weeks, and that seems like a lifetime ago. But I found out something last night that is worth sharing. A family of friends were coming to volunteer from the greater D.C. area, and because we canceled, did not make the trip down here. On that Wednesday, March 18th, the father came down with a big fever, self-quarantined in their house, and has since tested positive for COVID-19. As of today, he is recovering well at home. At the time of the race, he was asymptomatic, would have been here all weekend, and unknowingly been potentially spreading the virus here to us all. I tell you this because we all could have this at any moment, be in close proximity to someone who has it, and everyone is clueless. Take it serious and assume everyone is unknowingly carrying the virus. Stay safe, and Godspeed, Matt Hawkins.
Well, that was sobering.
Very sobering here at the end of our podcast, but you know what? It is. It's kind of important. I know we kind of we talked amongst ourselves about not, allowing our podcast to focus on that, but I don't think we are focusing. I think, and I'll be the first to admit, I think last week's episode, I think 64, we were all a little kind of down.
We didn't know what to do.
I know I was. Everybody was in kind of like a tailspin. Nobody knew what was going on. But I think, it's our job to talk about gravel, to talk about bikes, and to do it in a fun and lighthearted way. And if we make some jokes along the way about coronavirus and somebody gets offended, I'm sorry about that. But that's just how we're dealing with it. And I think that's the way a lot of people are dealing with it, with humor. And so be it. Yeah, that's just the way it's going to be. And everybody deals with life's struggles in their own way.
Hold on. What did you say? I was just texting Dave.
Nothing. So I don't know. Anyway, you guys got anything else this time, truly, before we shut it down?
I think
so.
I forgot something now that you mentioned the story on the side of the road.
I'm going to teach everyone to make pasta next week.
Sure.
I did switch to a raspberry milk stout from Rocktown Brewery.
I'd love to find some more of those.
I found
so good.
2 in my fridge. There's one left, Brian. I'll save it for you.
So good. Yeah, that'll be our first together crack after this whole stay at home, stay away from each other.
Yeah, I'm gonna get my Fireball for next week.
Yeah. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to this episode of Mid-Atlantic Gravel, Travel, and Dirt. This is a listener-supported podcast by some incredible people on Patreon or PayPal, and you could be like Ted. Up your ante. I got an email from Patreon. We're on our 1-year Patreon anniversary.
What?
Ooh. And you've been listening, and you still haven't figured out how to cancel. That sucks. You've been paying us money for 1 year.
Who's had the most bikes since we started? Because I've been on my Sequoia for over a year now.
Ooh.
It might be, I don't know, it could be Brian or Wes. I kind of flattened the curve on that one.
Well, I bought my Fargo a year ago. Still have that. And then I sold my AWOL, and I bought the Diverge, sold the Diverge, got a Warbird.
That's Wes then. Wes is the winner. I'm only gotten 2 new bikes: the Diverge and now the Tarmac.
Well, what's Joey's story though?
I've had the Sequoia in the All City.
There was a Crux.
Oh,
There was a what?
the Crux.
You had the Crux.
Oh yeah, I just sold that already.
But that's 3 you bought.
Oh shit! I thought this was going to go differently. I was missing.
I feel like we're
having
missing. I feel like we're missing 2 more bikes Joey's bought and sold.
I don't have 2 really sprints. I'm just
you had the Journeyman.
Yeah, but I sold that.
Yeah, that's still a bike.
But I've had the Sequoia for over a year.
When we were riding last Sunday, Will asked me, he's like, so how many bikes do you have? And I said, I'm not allowed to count.
Just say I can't count past one hand.
Yeah, nope. Our show can be found wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Hey, Wes, how can folks get in contact with us?
Well, since you're all hopefully well-versed on the internet by now, because that's how we use to communicate everything. Thank God somebody invented that in, 1970 or 1980 something. graveltraveldirt.com, because wwws are stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Since you're still using Facebook, because Instagram is out, you can find us Mid-Atlantic Gravel Travel and Dirt on Facebook. Super easy. Search that in Spotify, wherever we pop up. But if you're on Instagram, that sucks. Phone number is 410-231-3850. Give us a call. I don't know if we can play you over Skype or not, but just call us anyway.
I will figure it out.
And nobody uses our hashtag AskGTD. And if you do...
Nope, I just checked it.
You're still on your own, one person.
I am going to take that out of the show notes. We're not going to look that up anymore. Leave it? Okay. Mid-Atlantic Gravel, Travel, and Dirt is recorded this week from all over the place, from a very cold room on the backside of my house to Joey's. Joey, are you upstairs now? Are you on the 3rd floor of the Sikorsky mansion?
Yeah, that's why I was out of breath getting another beer tonight.
See, it's got altitude sickness.
I know.
Wes will be in his
I'm
new...
my we should put a round here and start recording when we're back together, Brian.
I would like that.
Yeah.
And Wes is in... You're going to be in your new home next week, right?
I don't know about that soon, but...
Thanks for riding along, everybody. Until next time, do good, be nice, go slow, respect others, and stay healthy.
Love you, bye.
Love you, bye.
Love you, bye.